Hi, welcome to Amanda's Book Corner. I'm Amanda, and this is my review of The Spanish Daughter by Lorena Hughes. So I found out about this book a few months ago, and I thought it looked really exciting, so I was thrilled when, in October, I won an ARC of the book. It doesn't come out until December 28th, and I was so excited to get to read an early copy of the book. The Spanish Daughter is set in 1920. Maria Purificacion, Puri for short, has just found out that her father, who she hasn't seen since he was 2 years old, has just passed away. He had abandoned her and her mother when he went to Ecuador 26 years ago, and she hasn't seen him since. But while living in Ecuador, he started a cacao plantation, and he also started a new family. So Puri and her husband Cristobal leave Sevilla in Spain and travel by ship all the way to Ecuador. Unfortunately, while on a ship that leaves Cuba, someone attempts to murder Puri, and when Cristobal steps in to save her, he ends up being murdered in the process. The assassin also dies. Puri is left not only grieving, but also terrified that her life is still in danger. She doesn't know who sent this assassin and who it is that hates her so much that they want her to be killed. She assumes it's related to the inheritance and the fact that she inherited the majority of the plantation despite not having been seen in 26 years and despite never having met any of her half-siblings. To keep herself safe, Puri decides to dress up like her husband, like a man, and pass herself off as Cristobal. She lies to not only the lawyer who meets her when she arrives in Ecuador, she also lies to all of her half-siblings and everyone else that lives in the city of Vinces. For some reason, when I went into this book, I was kind of just assuming it'd be one of those lush and dramatic and a little bit romantic kind of historical fictions with family secrets and drama and all that goes with it. For some reason, I didn't realize how much of a fast-paced and fun mystery this would be. It's a very different vibe than what I was expecting, but I actually really loved it. Puri, dressed as Cristobal, is kind of like a Nancy Drew. She's undercover, she's investigating this mystery, trying to figure out who tried to have her killed off, and she doesn't trust anyone in Ecuador. She doesn't trust her half-sisters, her half-brother, the lawyer, her brother-in-law, the man who works at plantations. Anyone and everyone is a suspect. I enjoyed all the different conversations that she got into as she was looking for answers, and how she had to go snooping around, sometimes into her dad's study, sometimes into abandoned homes that were burned down. She's going all over the place trying to follow the clues to find out who paid this guy to come and kill her. It's kind of at once funny and also nerve-wracking watching Puri go around pretending to be a man and worrying that she's going to get caught. On the one hand, it's funny when she mistakenly does things that only a woman would do. For example, she waits for someone to open the door of the car and help her out, which is not something a man would do. It's also pretty awkward when she's with this guy and he invites over some prostitutes and she's not sure how to handle that situation. But on the other hand, it's also nerve-wracking. You don't want her to get caught because, if she gets caught, will she be in danger of being murdered on the spot? You don't know. By the way, if you're wondering how Puri is able to pass herself off as a man, it helps that she's taller than average, has a lower than average voice, has a fake beard that she swiped from the ship that she was on. I don't think I'd be able to do it with my kind of squeaky, ridiculous voice. I don't think I'd be able to fool anyone into thinking I was a man. But in her case, it works out pretty well, so she's lucky in that regard. But it also leads to some interesting discussion about her views on gender and what's considered good and bad. She talks about how growing up, her mother was always disappointed in how masculine she was and how she just didn't quite fit in with a lot of the feminine expectations people have of women, especially at that time in the early 1900s. On the other hand, over the course of acting like a man for a couple of weeks, Puri also changes her opinion on how she perceives men. She kind of thought of all men as being a monolith before, and during these few weeks, she starts to see them as more as individuals and see how, for example, her husband is very different from this man who runs a plantation, who is very different from the husband of her half-sister. So it's interesting to see her opening up a dialogue with herself about gender and what is good and bad in her in terms of being more masculine or more feminine, and also how she sees other guys. One question that comes up early on, thanks to her half-brother Alberto, is that line between good and evil. And I think that really comes out throughout the book as the pieces start to fall into place and you start to see how certain characters are maybe not as good as they seem, but maybe not as bad as they seem either. Interspersed with the chapters that are set in 1920, with Puri trying to figure out the mystery, we also see flashback chapters of her two half-sisters, Angelica and Catalina, and the different things that shaped them in the years leading up to 1920. We see how certain lies snowballed out of control. We also see how secret affairs and secret children and who you are and aren't allowed to marry based on economic status, and how all of these things come together to really shape these people. This book deals with grief, and it also deals with a sense of abandonment and how different half-siblings can be jealous of each other but for different reasons, and the different kinds of lives they had with or without their father. Throughout the course of the novel, I really started to feel for all of these different characters, and by the end, I really felt empathetic towards all of them. Even the culprit, who we eventually find out is the one that wanted Puri to be murdered, even that character, I could feel some sort of sympathy for them. So it's really interesting and thought-provoking. So I really enjoyed this novel. I gave it 4.5 stars. And I also found out when I read the acknowledgments that the author seems to have a sequel planned as well, and I cannot wait to read that. The Spanish Daughter comes out on December 28th of 2021, and I definitely recommend you pick it up once it's out. I still have it on pre-order, so I guess I'll have 2 copies, and I'll be waiting for the sequel too. So I hope you enjoyed this book review video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And to make sure you don't miss any more of my videos, please ring the bell to get all my notifications. I'll be publishing at least 1 or 2 book review videos like this one every week, and pretty soon I'm going to be putting out additional content as well that you won't want to miss. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!